Okay, so the next step for us is to now start passing data from the domain layer down the persistence layer. And we're going to use the data transfer object to do that. Now, I've run into challenges with this before. Entity Framework doesn't like when you use too many things with the same name. So if you name your DTO class order the same as your entity class order, well, it doesn't always happen, but sometimes the Entity Framework flips out a little bit. So we're going to have to be careful about that, and that's why I'm going to choose my names carefully. So to get started, let's go into the persistence layer. We're going to go to the order repository, and ultimately what we want to do is pass in a DTO order here. So to get started with that process, let's make sure that we can let's work on this create order method. There's going to be a mapping from the DTO order to the entity order. And so to do that, I'm going to create a new private helper method. So private static order, and this is the order from the entities, the entity data model. And we'll go convert to entity, and eventually we'll pass in a DTO from here and then into here. But what ultimately we'll do to start off with here is I'm just going to grab this, I'm going to pass it in here, and I'll return the order like so, and then we'll go var order equals convert to entity. Oh, I missed an N. Convert to entity. That should work. Alright, now let's just make sure this works before we go too far. You can see again, I'm taking very small steps here. Let's run it. Okay, and I'm going to assume that we got another row of data here. Okay, so let me delete these out. Okay, so we kind of got this working. We'll obviously have to come back to this part. Let's go back now and create a, let's rename this to order DTO. Now, again, I could just name this order, but I happen to know that doing that is going to cause some confusion. So order DTO.cs. And in here, what I'm going to do to create all the properties, I'm going to go to the data entity model, or the entity data model rather. I'm going to look for the order entity, because pretty much we're just going to grab all the properties. Now, we don't necessarily have to do this if we needed the data shaped a little bit differently to transfer between the layers, but in our case, we're going to keep it really close to the same thing. Okay. So now, just making that one change, I'm going to run the application again to make sure that the Entity Framework can figure this out. Okay, and it seems to be able to do that. Let's go again here, right-click, show table data. Should be one order now. There is, good. Okay, so now at this point, we should be able to expect from DTO dot order DTO like that, and then we'll pass that to the next layer down to convert it to an entity. And so we'll do that here. And for the time being, let's go ahead and just grab all of this and just yank it out of here. And I'm actually going to go and paste that into the domain layer right here. We'll come back to that in a minute. But here what we're going to do is do that mapping. So we'll do a var order equals new order, and that should be an entity order from the entity model. And then we'll just do something like this. Order.orderID equals order DTO.orderID, and we'll just keep doing that mapping. So I'm going to pause the video while I work on this because it's going to require a lot of typing. Okay, so when I'm all finished, that's what it's going to look like right there, which is good. And all right, to get this to work, I go to the order manager now, and we're not creating an order here. We're going to create an order. What is it called? Order DTO. Okay, like that. In fact, it's not going to be able to find it, so we need to go DTO dot order DTO. There you go. And that should all work, and we'll pass that into here. All right, so the result will be the same as what we've seen up to this point. Let me delete that row. The result will be the same. How we got to this point will be different though, so let's run that. Okay, it seemed to work. Let's go ahead and see if we got an actual row in the database. And let's refresh. There we go. Phew. I always hate when it doesn't refresh on me. It scares me a little bit. Okay, so create order works. Now we're going to do that same mapping thing. Well, no, not really. We're going to expect in a DTO order DTO like so, and then we'll just wind up passing that along to the next layer. So I'm just going to comment that out for now. And actually what we'll do, we'll grab all this and go up one more layer to the presentation layer. So now we're going to push it from the presentation layer to the domain layer, then to persistence. Just to make sure we can get the communication. And what we'll do this time is we're going to paste all that in. DTO order, and we'll just pass in a DTO order. Whoops. DTO order. Oops, I'm sorry. I keep saying DTO orders. Order DTO. That's what I wanted. Actually, I don't even need to do that. It's just that. Good. Okay. Let's save everything. Okay. Let's shut all this junk down. Let's make sure there's nothing in the database. Let's delete that row. All right, and now let's run the application. Click the button. Okay, and now we've been able to create a spike all the way down through. We've created a spike from the presentation layer down the domain, down the persistence, save the data. Using DTO objects, we're good to go. Okay, so that's a big step. All right, let's stop right there. And now, really all we need to do is continue wiring up the, well, I guess at this point, we could just go ahead and create the user interface in that default.aspx page, use Bootstrap, all that good stuff, and then wire it up, and we'll be done with that first portion. So let's go ahead and end it right here. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks.